I love dragons. As a matter of fact, I think dragons are a really important part of a game called Dungeons and Dragons. But at the same time, I think creators aren't doing dragons enough justice. For example, all dragons you pit against your players have frightful presence. They all have a breath weapon. They all have these legendary actions where you can fly away or do a tail or a wing attack. And it all kind of feels the same. Although people try to change the flavor and try to change the alignment, all dragon fights, basically, let's admit it, all feel the same. And at the same time, I think some of the companies, Wizards of the Coast and other companies, don't do the playable races enough justice. There's not enough originality within Dragonborn or half-dragons or other dragon-like playable races. But then, a Dutch guy who goes by the name of Niels created Children of the Dragon, Draconic player races, and subclasses. Hi there, fellow game masters and role players. My name is Mr. Tarask, still your go-to YouTube channel for everything third-party Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition related. And today I'm talking about Children of the Dragon, Draconic player races, and subclasses. And I'm going to go straight off the bat here for the $7.75 you're paying for this as a PDF. It is an absolute steal. The amount of content in here, the amount of good content that is in here for you to use in your campaign, for you to use as a player or as a dungeon master is an absolute steal. $7.75. I do not know how the writer is even making any money from this because he has a lot of artwork in here. He commissioned by himself, paid for a lot of stuff by himself, and it is just an amazing book. And I will just flip through the stuff that I think is really good about this book, although I have a few problems with it. But most of those problems are a bit nitpicky from my side because I like the things the way I like them and I hate things the way I hate them. I'm just a guy on the internet giving my opinion on Dungeons & Dragons content. If you want to see me continue and if you want to see me continue my YouTube channel, make sure to click that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up and ask me any questions in the comments below. I answer almost any comment and I definitely read every comment. So make sure to do that. Click the subscribe button. It really helps a small YouTuber like myself out a lot. To my Patreon supporters, really quick, thanks for buying me coffee. I still have a Patreon page where you can play with me as a dungeon master and as a player, or you can just support me, get in my Discord. You're always welcome in my Discord, by the way. Let's get to Children of the Dragon. So, first of all, what is Children of the Dragon? Children of the Dragon is a kind of a book that is a passion project of Niels Peter de Jong. What Niels did was he has been creating homebrew content for Draconic player races and Draconic subclasses for a long while. On forums, you can find it everywhere, and he bundled it into a one big PDF on the Dungeon Masters Guild with all this stuff combined. He commissioned artwork for it, and it all started as like, for me, the subclasses subtitle is right here, and it feels kind of slapped on, so I believe it started like a playable races, and then went into the subclasses, but that's not everything there's in here. There's magic items in here, there's new creatures in here, new dragons in here, there is feats in here, backgrounds in here. This thing, the amount of content you're getting is really cool. And Niels has a Discord channel, which I'm linking in the description below, as well as the link to the buying page on the Dungeon Masters Guild. You can go in his Discord channel, ask him any question. He will always be around answering questions. He has a real fan club who helped him play test this stuff. So this stuff is not only very cool, but to my opinion, although some of the stuff feels powerful, it doesn't feel too powerful. It feels like as powerful as you should feel as a person who is of Draconic heritage, right? So you need to have that breath weapon once in a while. You need to have that battle roar from the dragon every once in a while, which makes you feel really powerful. But I think the statistics, like the numbers, the math of the book itself, isn't overpowered in any way. But anyway, let's get into it. I will just flip through this book and show you what I really like about it. As soon as you open it, there is this amazing piece of artwork where you see a party fighting some kind of zombie type dragon, skeletal zombie type dragon, which has a breath weapon, and they're trying to survive that. And there's this half dragon or dragonborn with a big great axe, and she's trying to, I don't know, chop the head of the dragon off or whatever. Really cool piece of artwork. Really like this one, and this is like the artwork that I really like about this book, but the problem that I have with this book, one of the problems I have with this book is that some of the artwork is inconsistent. I really like the cartoonish style of it, but then there are some photorealistic things in here, and I just feel like Niels should have left that out and have like maybe less artwork but more consistent, instead of like having cartoonish artwork and photorealistic artwork slapped together, which feels like two different worlds coming together, which Lord of the Rings meeting Star Wars, it wouldn't make any sense. But other than that, let's go into the index. There are the races and the subclasses, right? But then there is additional content. And like I said, backgrounds, dragon, more about the races, religions, foes, armory, magic items, all kind of extra stuff you're getting from the $7.75. I'm checking if I'm reading that correctly. Yes, $7.75 for this book. It is ridiculous, and it goes completely straight into the chapter 1, the races. And I really like this, and this is what I mean. This is like the cartoony type of thing, which I really love. It's really different. I've never really seen this in a book before. It's really colorful, pops very well. It feels cartoony but serious in a way, but then there is this kind of attempt at photorealism, which I don't hate. I prefer this, but some people might prefer this. But the both together is just what doesn't make sense for me. My brain can just not wrap itself around that for some reason. I don't know what reason exactly, but it's just the way it is. It's the way my brain ticks. Now, the first race Niels goes into is the Dragonborn Revised. He does revised versions of the Draconic player races, kinda, and he has like the traits, he has like the stuff, he has Draconic ancestry with the breath weapon thing, just the way the player's handbook has it, where you have all kinds of damage types and 15-foot cone or 30-foot line type of deal, but he adds just a few. He adds, I don't think the Celestial Dragon is in the player's handbook. I also don't think the Steel Dragon is in the player's handbook. Then he goes into 2 sub-races. I really like these sub-races. For example, there's the Dread Collar, and this, I love this. The Draconic Fear. You can roar as an action, forcing each creature of your choice within 30 feet to make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened. There's a lot of text here, but that's basic thing. They have to make a check, otherwise they become frightened of you. Which is really cool for a Dragonborn. Like, let's say you are a fighter and you're standing there with your broadsword, right? And everybody's like, oh shit, he's scary. That's what you need to have for a Dragonborn. If you are a Dragonborn, people should be scared to death of you if you so choose to. You could be a friendly dragon that every now and then gets this roar, does this roar to get people like, oh, he means business, which is really cool. There is another subclass called Wayfarer, who basically has wings and can, when he falls, he can do a slow fall and take less damage after he falls. Which is really cool. There's another sub-race, but there's also a racial feat. And he just adds this here, right here, to this page, a racial feat right there. Nothing really special, but they Draconic Heritage, which gives you an extra d6 on your breath weapon, but also very cool. You can take this feat multiple times, and each time you take it, you can take a sort of trait from another sub-race. So you can, by picking this feat, you can pick and choose and create your own type of Dragonborn, which, of course, you take the strongest stuff each time, which creates a really powerful build at the end, but you need to give up your feat or your ability score improvement for that. So that kind of, for me, at least on paper, it should, I don't know how it's play tested, but on paper it should balance out in a way where, I mean, you have to give up your ability score and you need to take this as a feat. So feats make people stronger. That's what feats are about, right? Then there's something very cool, and it is the half dragon. And I really love the idea of the half dragon, and where Wizards of the Coast and other companies are always very careful about explaining certain type of things. Niels goes into the fact, basically, it's right here that a humanoid did a thing with a dragon. had intercourse with a dragon, and that's where half dragons come from. Now, they didn't really literally have intercourse with a dragon because that would be probably impossible, and I do not know how that would work. I'm not going into that, but dragons are known to change their shape into a humanoid so they can walk amongst humans and do their thing with humans or other humanoids. And by doing so, this female human then gives birth to a half dragon, which could be kind of a big surprise. Let's say you do your intercourse thing with a person you met in a bar and an inn. You do that, you have like this one-night stand, for example, and then you go home and then, oh, damn, I'm pregnant and I cannot find the guy. Where is the guy? And then 9 months later, a half dragon comes out of you. I don't know what that would mean for people would probably think you're a witch or whatever. I don't know. Depends on the environment. But yeah, it is really, really cool. And Niels goes really into this. He just says this, like, dragons have intercourse with humanoids. Period. That's how it works. Which I really like. I really like that kind of stuff because that's just how it works. And dragons are known to shapeshift. They also get a breath weapon. They get their draconic ancestry, like the black dragon, brass dragon, green dragon, white dragon, whatever. And there's this really funny, cool piece of artwork where, like, this dragon is holding a humanoid or a half dragon even, and making him jet ski on the water. And there is this person on top of the dragon, and he's kind of jet skiing on the water, which they're just having a bunch of fun. Which this could be the mom, this could be the dad, and this could be the son, right? Which is cool. Which is just a cool way of showing dragons in another light, right? Then Niels goes into the racial feats, improved breath weapon, dragon form, blah 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 blah. There's even a part about descending into dragonhood. And then suddenly, after the feat, he goes into additional half dragons. And then he goes into celestial, sapphire, and steel, which I think is really weird. And this is where you notice the book being kind of, in a way, slapped together. And I don't mean that in a negative term. It's just Niels creating stuff and then putting it together. There is this entire section on half dragons. There's an entire section on the racial feats for half dragons. And then suddenly there's an entire section on more half dragons, which could have been right after the half dragon section, but it's kind of weird how this is set up for me, at least as a reader. But if you know, like, the background of this book, you know that it makes sense, right? It is just this dude who creates good content, does a lot of writing in his free time, and just put everything he has created in a PDF, and you can support the guy by buying the PDF for $7.75. I know I keep repeating that. Click the link in the description below if you want to do that. Then there's a kobold. This is funny. This is something I like. It's a pun. It's a hint to something we all know and love. It's the kobold traits, and there's this kobold trait called burrower, where the kobold can burrow a tunnel, has burrowing speed as long as he has a shovel. But there's this thing right here which says diggy diggy hole. Right here, diggy diggy hole. And basically it says that if you're a dwarf, you can give up your stone cunning in exchange for the burrower trait by the kobold. I really like that. As a dwarf, you also have a burrowing speed than if you have a shovel or a pickaxe or whatever in your hands. So it's a hint to that song. Orders of the mind, we just sing with me. Really cool. There's also, again, racial trait feats, and then he does the photorealistic thing again. He probably loves the artwork, and he just wanted it in there. I just think it doesn't really is supposed to be in there together with the cartoonish thing. I know I already said that. There are a bunch of lizard. There's also there's lizard folk. There's racial treats for the kobold. There's racial feats for the lizard folk. There's all kinds of sub races for the lizards, sharp tooth and kind of stuff like that. There's more content in here than I want to talk about. I'm just summarizing a bit what content is in here so you can get an idea, but I just want to show you the stuff that I, as a player and a DM, really, really love. Then we get into another great piece of artwork that belongs in the book, the subclasses. A party fighting some kind of demon woman, and there's this party, there's like the evil demon with dragon wings, and there's this draconic party fighting it. I think this artwork is really cool. Kudos to Niels for finding it and putting it in your book. Barbarian, Path of the Dragon. Sounds cool, right? Dragon Spirit Totem, Arcane Domains, like the College of Playful Mockery. There is the Dragon Domain for the Cleric, although the numbers of this are not really special. I just like it for its flavor. There's this Cleric who basically, you don't need to be of a dragon ancestry. As long as you worship a certain dragon god, you can get a breath weapon, because it is the god actually giving you that breath weapon, and it is the god using you as its buddy for doing that breath weapon, right? So it's a cool addition. It's the numbers here aren't anything special. It's not like world changing or anything. I just think the flavor is really there, and I think it's cool that they added this kind of stuff. I think Niels did a really good job on making everything belong together. Everything is about this Children of the Dragons, and it is just about having dragons not only as your ancestry, but also as your deity, and also as, as whatever. Everything is tied to this dragon type of thing, which is really, really cool. Circle of the Dragon. There's the water domain, which I like. You can purify water, but you can also give water healing abilities. Or damaging abilities, like the natural healing abilities of water. You can make that stronger, so people actually regain hit points from drinking water, which in my opinion people already do in real life, but this is like the numbers are here, which is a cool extra thing if you're into that, like that elements type of stuff. The Circle of Savagery. The Circle of Savagery. I really like this one. Look at this skull. Right? This is cool, right? Now, the Circle of Savagery is restriction lizardfolk. I would leave that out as a dungeon master, but they can have a wild form, so this is Druid Circle, a wild form, a wild shape, and they can shape change into dinosaurs. Me, as a kid, I was a gigantic dinosaur nerd as a kid. I'm still a kid. I'm just an adult kid right now. But as a kid, like yay high, I was a real dinosaur nerd. Really, like a big one. And what he did was these ancient wild forms, he calls them. And there are a bunch of new dinosaurs in here, and he says on top of the monster manual and the Volo's Guide to Monsters, you can pick these, and there's a bunch of cool ones in here. For example, the Albertosaurus, which is basically a Tyrannosaurus Rex who lived on the other side of the planet. So it wasn't Tyrannosaurus Rex, it's the same kind of creature as a T-Rex. We all know the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, but we don't know the Albertosaurus, which is as cool as a T-Rex, but just nobody knows it. And it has a funny name. It's called Albertosaurus. And then there's a dire Velociraptor. So if you want to play the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park, you can play the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park. Because the Jurassic Park Velociraptors are actually, should actually be dire, because in real life they were much smaller than Steven Spielberg made us believe they were. But equally as powerful. Now, something I want to show you, and I want to direct this to Niels. If you're watching this, you probably are. You revised my favorite class. The class that was in the most useless book Wizards of the Coast ever put out, to my opinion, Sword Coast Adventures Guide. the Purple Dragon Knight. The Purple Dragon Knight is one of my favorite subclasses for the fighter. I know it's not strong. I know the numbers do not make sense, but I don't care. I play my subclasses and my classes because I want to play them, not exactly for the numbers. But what Niels did, he changed it, and he changed it for the better. He made a Purple Dragon Knight, to my opinion, that is absolutely amazing. Like, I don't know if you played 4th edition, but if you ever played 4th edition, there was this class called, I don't know what it was called, but it was kind of this like this battlefield commander type of dude. It was like this fighter type who could give out orders, and this is that, but for 5th edition, right? So there's this restriction knighthood, so you need to be part of a knighthood. You can ignore that if your dungeon master wants that. But then at 3rd level, you can use your bonus action to give out commands to your party members. For example, push the advantage. The creatures make one attack roll. Tactical retreat. The creature moves up to its speeds, so it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So you can get one of your allies to get out of combat. Then utmost caution. The creature gains the benefit of the dodge action until the start of your next turn. So you can just be there in the front line, and there's this one person who is like close to death or whatever, and he wants to get out of there, and you're like, just tactical retreat, and you role play that, you do something, put your sword in between him and the enemy, and they can retreat or whatever, or you're like, stand your guard or whatever, and then they can gain the benefit of the dodge action until their next turn, so they are harder to hit, and you can actually save their life by doing that. You can also add your wisdom modifier to any charisma check you do, but then on level 7, really cool. The Purple Dragon Knight can normally, in the 5th edition rules, Purple Dragon Knight can heal all of his party members, or like an X amount of his party members for his fighter level, right? Which can add up. It can add up. If you have 4 or 5 party members and you're level 3, you're using a bonus action to heal 15 hit points, which is more than you think. But then, what Niels does, he adds a d6 to that. So a d6 plus your fighter level, which can still be a 1 plus your fighter level, so not that much more. But it adds a bit to it, and I just really like it that it's a d6. And then after that, just the push the advantage type of commands become stronger, and that's basically the main thing. I just think the push the advantage, tactical retreat, and utmost caution stuff from the battlefield commander ability from the Purple Dragon Knight that's just the stuff that I really, really like. And there's even more subclasses, like for example the Supply Specialist, which is also a fighter subclass who can make potions and a few scrolls and whatever. And then there's the Way of the Dragon Turtle, who is a monk, because it's a way of the Dragon Turtle. Now, the Dragon Turtle has always been a weird name, to my opinion, because if it is a dragon, it should have been called the Turtle Dragon, right? Because the whale shark is a shark. It is a whale shark. It is not a shark whale, because then it would be a whale. It's a whale shark. So the type of the creature should be at the end, to my opinion. So it should be a turtle dragon, which would make more sense in my weird brain. But it is a Way of the Dragon Turtle, which has a cool feature called the Turtle Stance, which you can actually, when an attacker hits you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage of the attack by XXX. When you make an opportunity attack, you can replace the melee attack with a grapple check. So you have like this turtle stance. Your skin might become stronger or whatever, which I think is a really cool way of being like type of a turtle, like a monk who fights in the way of the turtle. I really love that. I think that's a cool extra that is in there for the monk. And then there are subclasses for the ranger, but I am really not into the ranger. I cannot really talk about the ranger because I've never been into the ranger. I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with the ranger, and even have problems with the revised ranger from Wizard's Ghost. And I just know Niels has a go at revising the ranger for himself with draconic options. I just do not know if it's good or whatever, because I cannot really talk about it. But then there are other sections in the book, and I'm trying to. It is called additional content. How cool is this artwork? Like, this armor, I want this armor in my game. I want my fighter to eventually end up looking like this. This is the coolest armor ever, right? And there's additional content. So he doesn't stop at the player races. He doesn't stop at the subclasses. He doesn't stop there. He adds backgrounds. He adds hatchlings you can use as your kind of your familiars or whatever. Additional feats, optional rules. Everything in here is basically an optional rule, but every time he has an optional rule, he also has optional rules, which are not intended to be standard. Even if you use this book, you need to ask. If you ask your dungeon master, can I use this book? And he says yes, you can use 90% of it. There are rules in here that literally say if you got your dungeon master's if your dungeon master said yes for using this book, for some of the rules you need extra to ask your dungeon master extra. Okay, I'm not making sense, but you're probably you probably know what I'm talking about. Your dungeon master has to approve. That was the word I was looking for. Approve for these rules to happen in his or her game, because the dungeon master is the boss, right? Then this is cool. There's another section about dragons and dragon races, but this time it has nothing to do with stats and numbers and whatever. It has everything to do with background and lore, and I really feel it was a good idea to put this in the back as some sort of extra content, because a lot of the basic lore you need to know from a race is in the race description, but he goes way deeper into it. For example, for the Draconic races, he goes into the Dragonborn, an entire section on the Dragonborn, relationship with other races, relationship with the dragon gods, all that stuff he talks about. Here's this artwork again, so cool, and this artwork so cool. So he really talks about how they function in the world. There's role-playing tips in here. There's even optional rules for your breath weapon and dark vision. There is an entire section on the half-dragons lore section, and this is all really lore heavy. So this is more if you decide to play a character and you play a half-dragon, for example, and you make a half-dragon Purple Dragon Knight, half dragon, Purple Dragon Knight fighter, right? You build this and you got the basic background, you know basically what he does. You can go to this section and really read up on it and get your own ideas of who your character is and why they are doing the adventure lifestyle and whatever. And I think it's really cool. He went even more into the lore of it. There's even a freaking pantheon in here. There's even like gods in here. Dragon gods in here. He goes really deep into it for freaking $7.75. Bahamut is in here. Asgoroth is in here. Tiamat is in here. There's ancient foes in here. Dragon armory, like a pickaxe. Dragon armor. Very cool, awesome type of pickaxe that is in here. I really love this one. Looks really cool. I see a what is it called? One of those priests. I see them really using this, or a paladin. I see them really using this. And that is basically it for Children of the Dragon, Draconic races and subclasses. No, that's not it. There's also spells, and there is a lot of new dragons in here with stat blocks. For example, the Steel Dragon is in here, the Sapphire Dragon. New dragons to pit against your players with some cool new mechanics. But I'm going to leave that for when you read this thing, because you are going to the link in the description below and buy this. If you've watched my video until the end, I am super duper grateful, and I want you to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and ask me any question about this book, the contents of this book. I will try to answer that. Until next video, bye bye.